Good day, children. Welcome to our math class. Our topic for today is about using different strategies. Learning competency uses different strategies, looking for a pattern, working backwards, etc. to solve for the unknown in simple equations involving one or two operations on whole numbers and fractions. Quarter 3, Module 11. For the learning objective, after going through this module, you are expected to use different strategies, looking for a pattern, working backwards, etc. to solve for the unknown in simple equations involving one or more operations on whole numbers and fractions. Let us begin our lesson with a pretest. Read and solve. I'm giving you 5 seconds each question for you to answer. Or you can pause the video so you may have enough time to answer the activity. Number 1. Anna has written a number pattern that begins with 5, 10, 20, 35, 55. What will be the 7th number? Your time starts now. Time's up. Number 2. Agnes bought 2 pairs of shoelaces for 90 pesos, a pair of shoes for 1,200 pesos, and a dress worth 550 pesos. Then her mother gives her 500 pesos. If she has 750 pesos, how much money did Agnes have in the beginning? Time starts now. Time's up. Let us see if your answers are correct. For number 1, the answer is 110. For number 2, the answer is 2,090 pesos. Did you get all the correct answers? Very good. Now, let's have a recap before we proceed to your lesson. You are going to draw the correct net of the following solid figures. Do this on your paper grid. You can pause the video while doing this activity. Time's up. Let's proceed to your lesson. Analyze the problem. Cheryl had some cookies. She shared them to her friends. She gave 3 cookies each to her 4 friends. She also gave 10 cookies to the street children. Then her mother added 3 more cookies. If Cheryl has 5 cookies, how many cookies did she have in the beginning? To analyze the problem, we are going to answer some questions. What is asked in the problem? Yes, the number of cookies Cheryl had in the beginning. What are the given facts? We have 3 cookies each to her 4 friends, 10 cookies to the street children, mother added 3 more cookies, and Cheryl has 5 cookies. How will you solve the problem? So now, you are going to think of a plan to answer the problem. You can work backward to find the answer. Working backward means you start at the end and work back one step at a time to get to the beginning. So, how do we do the working backward strategy? Here are the steps in doing the working backward strategy. First is to translate the statement into mathematical sentence. In the problem, Cheryl gave 3 cookies each to her 4 friends. This statement can be turned into mathematical sentence. The word gave means took away, so we use subtraction. And 3 cookies each to her 4 friends means 3 times 4, so we have minus 3 times 4. And this is where the problem begins. Next statement is she gave 10 cookies to the street children. Again, the word gave means subtraction. So we have minus 10. Then her mother added 3 more cookies to Cheryl. The word added means addition, so we have plus 3. And in the last statement, Cheryl has 5 cookies. It means at the end, she has only 5 cookies. So this is equals 5. And this is where it ends. Remember that in working backward, start from the end and use the opposite operation in the mathematical sentence. In the problem, it ends in Cheryl having 5 cookies. So our mathematical sentence starts here. So we write 5. Next is plus 3. But we are going to use the opposite operation. So this will become minus 3. Next is minus 10. And the opposite is plus 10. And minus 3 times 4. And the opposite is plus 3 times 4. So, the mathematical sentence to solve the problem is 5 minus 3 plus 10 plus 3 times 4 equals n. In accordance with the order of operation, which is PEMDAS, we must solve first what is inside the parentheses. So, 3 times 4 equals 12. Then, 5 minus 3 equals 2. And bring down 10. So now we have 2 plus 10 plus 12 equals 24. So Cheryl had 24 cookies in the beginning. Let's have another problem. Eliza visits her grandmother every third day of the week, and her last visit is Tuesday. On what day is her next visit? To solve this problem, you are going to look for a pattern. Pattern is a series or sequence that repeat based on a rule. And a rule is a set way to calculate or solve the problem. To solve this problem, we are going to use a calendar. By marking a calendar of Eliza's last visit, which is on Tuesday, and using skip counting 1, 2, 3, you will know that Eliza's next visit is on Friday, because this is the third day of the week from Eliza's last visit. Okay, so this problem only requires us to look for a pattern. I hope you understand your lesson. Some word problem can be solved by working backward strategy and by looking for a pattern. Activity number 1. Read and solve. You can pause the video to answer this activity. Number 1. Nika had marbles. She gave 15 to Jen and 16 to Cheska. Luis arrived and got 12 from Nika. If Nika had 22 left, how many marbles did she have at first? Number 2. Ronnie ran 4 kilometers on Monday, 6 kilometers on Tuesday, 10 kilometers on Wednesday, and 16 kilometers on Thursday. If this pattern continues, how many kilometers will Ronnie run on Saturday? Time is up. For number 1, the answer is 65 marbles. For number 2, the answer is 34 kilometers. For number 3, Kobe bought some bottles of water. He drank 4 of the bottles. Then he bought 5 more bottles and drank 2 of those. He has 4 bottles left. How many bottles of water he had at first? Time is up. The answer is 5 bottles. Activity number 2. Read and solve the problem. Again, you can pause the video to answer this activity. Number 1. Isabella is organizing the books. She puts 12 books on the first shelf, 15 books on the second shelf, 20 books on the third shelf, 27 books on the fourth shelf. If this pattern continues, How many books will Isabella put on the fifth shelf? Time's up. The answer is 36 books. For number 2, Andrew walked from Santa Clara de Montefalco Church to Rizal High School and took him 25 minutes. Then he walks from Rizal High School to his house and took him 15 minutes. He arrived at 4:05 p.m. At what time did he leave Santa Clara de Montefalco Church? Time's up. The answer is 3:25 p.m. Activity number 3. Read and solve. Again, you can pause the video to answer this activity. 1. Harold was trying to decide when to get up in the morning. He needs 40 minutes to get ready for school. It takes him 35 minutes to drive to school. He wanted to get to school 15 minutes early to use the library. If the class starts at 7 a.m., what time should he get up? Time's up. The answer is 5:30 a.m. For number 2, Hillary is drawing cartoon characters in her drawing book. She draws 3 cartoon characters on the first page, 4 on the second page, 7 on the third page, and 12 on the fourth page. How many cartoon characters will she draw on the sixth page? Time is up. The correct answer is 28 cartoon characters. Now, let's try to recall everything we learned today. Fill in the blanks to complete the sentence. Blank means you start with the end and work back one step at a time to get to the beginning. And blank is a series or sequence that repeat based on a rule. And a rule is a set way to calculate or solve the problem. Time is up. The answers are working backwards and patterns. For the valuing, answer these in your notebook. Cheryl shares her cookies to his friends and to the street children. Are you going to do the same? Why? What values have you learned today? This is your final activity. You can pause the video to answer this activity. Read and solve. 1. Sophia owns a bookstore and is looking for her past orders. She ordered 25 new books in January, 40 books in February, 55 books in March, and 70 books in April. If this pattern continues, how many books will she order in June? For number 2, Matthews baked cupcakes over the weekend. Each day during the school days, he took 5 cakes to share with his friends. That left him 10 on Saturday. How many cupcakes did he bake? For number 3, when Sarah, Judy, and Julia jumped on a weighing scale together, it weighed 164 3/4 kilograms. Sarah stepped off and the scale moved down to 104 1/2 kilograms. Julia also stepped off and the scale showed 54 1/4 kilograms. What was each girl's weight? And that's all for today. I hope everything is clear. and you understand our lesson. See you next lesson. Stay safe.